we are back to Football 101. I was going to say something else, y'all. Football 101, the YouTube show. That's right, Football 101, the YouTube show. We are a YouTube show instead of the magazine like I used to publish for the past 20-some years. Now we are the YouTube show. I am your host, The Beetle. Yes, The Beetle. Former DB way back in the day during the 70s, actually 74, oh my gosh, middle school years, elementary, middle school, high school years, but 70s, 74, 75 as a junior and senior defensive back and wide receiver for Xenia, Ohio Buccaneers. That's the first time I said Xenia, Ohio, the Xenia Buccaneers back in Xenia, Ohio, and also former defensive back in Miami University in Ohio, MU. As a walk-on player at MU with no scholarship, scout team player, loved it for my 2.5 years with MU. So that's the mentality that I bring, the old school mentality of breaking down the NFC West and the San Francisco 49ers. Let me just say, the San Francisco 49ers, they are an elite team. And yes, they lost in the Super Bowl, but they still are that elite team, even after losing in the Super Bowl again. And how many more times, y'all? But anyway, I want to give a shout out. How many more times? Shout out to 49ers Talk. Really love their show, 49ers Talk. Also, NBC Sports Bay Area in California. The NBC Sports Bay Area that follows the 49ers. And plus, ABC 10 does a great job. ABC, the reporter from ABC 10, he brings it in breaking down the San Francisco 49ers, as well as the 49ers Report by Chat Sports, featuring Chase Senior, 49ers Report by Chat Sport. Shout out to Chase Senior. And then again, NBC Sports Bay Area, California. They had a special guest, a surprise guest. Let me give a shout out to the one and only Kay Adams. The Kay Adams Wake Up with Kay Adams show. You know who Kay Adams? She used to be the original host of the NFL Network, Good Morning Football, GMFB. And then she branched out on her own just a couple of years ago, just 2 years ago. And she brings it. She brings the knowledge. She brings the style points, the insight. And matter of fact, they interviewed Kay Adams because she was doing a deeper dive into the 49ers herself on her show and visiting all the teams in the NFL, and she does break them down. And one of the things, I just jumped into the San Francisco, and one of the things I saw in that interview, she says the 49ers, in all of her interviews, they are resilient. They have this high level of expectations. So a quick shout out to Kay Adams of the Wake Up with Kay Adams shows, but when she was interviewed by NBC Sports Bay Area. So that's a little tidbit for so again, I dive deep and I look at as many videos as possible affiliated with each and every team. And again, a great interview by NBC Sports Bay Area of California. And of course, with head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan. Is in his 8th season at 49ers head coach. Kyle Shanahan, the son of Mike Shanahan, my boy. Let me give a quick shout out to Kyle Shanahan's dad, Mike Shanahan, former head coach of the Raiders, former head coach of the Denver Broncos, back-to-back Super Bowls. And let me just say, I didn't realize this, but Mike Shanahan's birthday is the same birthday as the Beetle, August 24th. Yeah, can you believe it? Yeah, so I share a birthday with Kyle Shanahan's dad, Mike Shanahan. And he's only 6 years older than me. What can you say? didn't know that until I did a deeper dive into the 49ers. So a quick shout out to Mike Shanahan, Super Bowl winner. What can you say? And this is where Kyle Shanahan gets his discipline and has that type of style of offense is based off the run first, quick action. I love Kyle Shanahan's overall scheme. Let me just say scheme. See, I checked myself. I love Kyle Shanahan's scheme of his offense. He utilizes multiple formations, multiple running styles, fast action. It's a timing deal, and plus when you have Christian McCaffrey, running back, all pro, coming from the Carolina Panthers, he's just so glad to be away from the Panthers and on the West Coast. I don't blame him. So Christian McCaffrey is back in the fold, and of course, let me just, before I get to the controversy with the 49ers, let me give not a quick shout out, but my favorite player of the 49ers, and I'm biased, y'all. I'm biased. Favorite player is my boy Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel. When I saw him in the interviews just a day or so, man, Deebo signed his contract last year. He went through contract situation. It wasn't good, but he eventually signed it, a nice deal. And he is just, he's came in better shape than last year. Can you believe it? And he just exudes confidence. Deebo Samuel is wide receiver, running back, specialist, kickoff specialist. He does it all. He's going to be doing even more so in the defensive backfield. I mean, in the offensive backfield, and put him in slot, put him out, wide out, further wide out. And he is, as he says, team first player. And he doesn't get into all the other stuff. As a matter of fact, he just did mention he did a production with a Netflix show called Receiver. He liked doing that with several other wide receivers, breaking it down. So a strong shout out to Deebo Samuel, and of course George Kittle. That's what I'm looking for. George Kittle, tight end extraordinaire, superstar himself, wild man George Kittle. So when you have George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and at quarterback you bring, of course, you have Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy. Timing, he needs to be on time. It's a timing. Again, the offensive philosophy for Kyle Shanahan is about timing. You got to be in rhythm, and that's how their offense flows. It's rhythm. It's fast. It's moving. It's options. But and teams try to get them out of their rhythm. And Brock Purdy is good in that in this system. He looks efficient as long as he stays in that rhythm. Now, what I saw interesting during training camp and one of their games, is the impact of backup quarterback Joshua Dobbs. Yeah, Joshua Dobbs looked good. Man, he looked really good. 8 years out of, he was a former Tennessee Volunteers quarterback, but now he's, I think he was with last year with the Vikings, and he was another team. He's the backup quarterback now that Garoppolo is gone, and the other quarterback was traded. Joshua Dobbs looked very impressive. So I'm just going to say this for right now. If anything happens to Brock Purdy, Joshua Dobbs will fit in perfectly. He throws on a rope. He runs very well. His pass first, but he's fluid. He looked even more fluid than Brock Purdy. So don't be surprised. I'm just saying this. Don't be surprised sometime in the season that Joshua Dobbs starts seeing more reps. Start to see reps, period. So I don't know if you can keep that brother on the bench. So Brock Purdy, like I said, Purdy fits well in the Kyle Shanahan system. But when you get Brock Purdy off his game, can he improvise well? And what I saw with Joshua Dobbs, he can improvise. So watch out sometime during the season. There's gonna be some quarterback issue. And Brock Purdy already hurt himself last year. And Kyle Shanahan is not gonna say it, but he was looking for this from Trey Lance. Yeah, I was going to remember his name eventually. Trey Lance, when they made the deal for Trey Lance several years ago, and that was a bust. But now he's got a seasoned veteran behind him, and Joshua Dobbs fits this Kyle Shanahan offensive system very well. And I know my boy, Deebo Samuel, loving it. Now, you notice I haven't mentioned the most controversy that's happening right now, today, after 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks in the end of preseason and training camp, is the wide receiver Brandon Ayuk. He's trying to get a deal with I don't know which team now. He was projected to go to the Browns. He was projected to go now with the Steelers. It was projected $28 million deal. But the Steelers don't want to give up certain things. And so the Niners gave Ayuk several different deals. And thus far, at the taping of the show, Ayuk has not accepted the deal. Because the Niners do not want to give up any players. And if anything, they give up draft picks. But Niners want to make the Super Bowl run now. Want again, return to the Super Bowl now. So they don't want draft picks. They're not going to give up any players in a trade, any additional players. They're going to trade. If Ayuk wants to go, there's got to be with a team that's going to accept those conditions. But right now, there's a deal been proposed, but nothing has been solidified as of August 20th at 7:57 p.m. It's so fluid. I was checking at the last second all the reporting, and no deal has been struck yet. And now is the time because teams are preparing for the first week of the season. They got one more playoff game, one more preseason game, but now they got to prepare for their first game, which is the New York Jets. It's a Monday nighter, so they got to put Kyle Shanahan's got to put the offensive game plan in ASAP now. And Brandon Ayuk, superstar, give him credit. He runs route he's a compliment to Deebo Samuel and the other wide receivers. Of course, George Kittle, tight end, and then they have they need someone else to step up. And Deebo said he was impressed by rookie Ricky Pearsall, which is excellent. Ricky Pearsall Ricky Pearsall came from Florida. He's impressed by Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowens. And Jacob Kane, he's a rookie from Arizona. So Deebo mentioned these young rookies, but I'm sure, and he didn't say, he said Brandon's got to do his own thing, but I'm sure Deebo really wants Brandon in the fold as well because the time is ticking. Again, they'll have the offensive power. Defensively, Chase Young left. They needed to get rid of Chase Young because he was undisciplined on that defense. Of course, they have all-world linebacker Fred Warner. And, of course, at defensive line, there's no one better than franchise Pro Bowler Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa from the Ohio State University. Yes, Nick Bosa. And Bosa looked good during the training camp as well. He just getting down his technique, his swim technique, his undercover. See, I'm giving you Bosa's technique right now in the studio. That undercover, that getting low and undercover like this, that shimmy. That's what he does to the offensive tackle. He gets low and that shimmy. So yes, the Beatles doing a little technique. Some edge rushing technique in the studio, y'all. The shimmy. He looked good. Bosa looked good. Fred Warner, he's a supreme inside linebacker. Man, he is such an elite linebacker and so smart. I mean, he's just so nice. Gotta give it up to Fred Warner. Man, I mean, he's a true professional, true all-pro, true Hall of Famer, too. And then the secondary, Charvarius Ward and Demontre Lenoir are the 49ers' most impressive corners. With finding a lockdown corner is number 3. Is going to be hard to find at this point in time. At safety, 2022 All-Pro Hufanga is coming off last season ACL. Again, and then they have also in the defensive backfield Brown, Lenoir, and Ward. Like I said, they're tenacious. They're hard hitters. I really like their secondary. They're above average, solid. The special teams. This unit has been an Achilles heel for years, and that is not a direct reflection of their specialization. Kicker Jake Moody, a punter, Mick. Now they just brought in a new punter who I saw in the preseason game. Is a brother. He was nailing it. So this new punter that I just saw in their preseason game, watch out for him. He was just pinpointing the ball and placing it within the 10-yard line, close to the 10-yard line, and on every punt. So that was it. And also, and so I think their punting will be solidified. The intangibles also says deep playoff runs the past 3 seasons, 2 NFC runner-ups, and the last season Super Bowl letdown is no doubt draining both physically and mentally. But I think the 49ers handling it well. They will be back in that NFC Championship game. A major assessment that let me just say, Deebo Samuel really wants to run back kicks this year because he said in his interview, he said, I'm loving this new lineup, this newest lineup where kick returns are back and how they got it designed. He said, I can bust a 100-yard run with no problem. So watch out for Deebo returning kicks again. So major weapon there. And matter of fact, that's Deebo Samuel Sr. On the back of his jersey now, he has Deebo Samuel Sr. Man, my boy Deebo is just so tight, man. He's just so confident. And then in the interview, when a reporter was asking him some dumb question, he just left. He just looked at him with the Deebo stare, and then left. You check out the Deebo stare. When he's kind of like pissed off, he'll just give you that stare and just walk off. That's a veteran. That's a confident superstar athlete. Man, yes. I mean, Deebo still bringing it, man. Just so impressed by his work ethic, his professionalism, and again, he's just in his 6th year from South Carolina. Man, he is just so tight. Again, when you got Deebo Samuel on offense, you're going to win a lot of games. So let me just go through the schedule real fast. The schedule. And again, the big hang up for the 49ers right now, are they going to re-sign Brandon Ayuk? And who's going to take his place if he goes, once he leaves? Because that's a big... Brandon Ayuk opened up the pathway, the passing scheme for Brock Purdy. So that's a big deal. And let me just say, the general manager, my boy John Lynch for John Lynch, former Tampa Bay superstar and also Super Bowl winner, John Lynch, and he also played for the Denver Broncos, by the way. But John Lynch, as general manager, I saw him trying to answer, saying the politically correct thing. That's one thing John Lynch is known for, trying to be too politically correct on that one. But it's going to come down to, let me just say this, I'm going to get my bias out. I really do love Kyle Shanahan's offensive scheme. However, Kyle Shanahan, he calls some bonehead plays many times, tries to overthink, tries to be too fancy, and that kind of showed in the Super Bowl. Hello. And previous NFC championship games. He overthinks his play calling, tries to catch the other team off guard. Stick with your tendencies in the crucial downs. Just stick with it. Don't try to do fancy stuff, trick plays. It's not necessary. Let me just say this to Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers. You got too much talent on this team. Stick with the system. Stick with your talented players. They will produce, because as Deebo Samuel says, he's a team first player. He's a team first player. He got paid. He's a team first player. So, John Lynch, step up, find a way to pay. Find a way to pay Brandon Ayuk, and you're going to get back to the promised land. Without Brandon Ayuk, they're not going to the Super Bowl. Simple as that. Without Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers are not going to the Super Bowl. He's that important. So whatever happens after August 20th, and if Brandon Ayuk is not in the lineup, mark it down. The Beatles says the 49ers are not going to the Super Bowl without Brandon Ayuk. If Brandon Ayuk is there, their chances dramatically increase. I would say 90%. They'll be back. Without Ayuk, it goes down to 20-30%. He's that important. So pay the man. You paid Deebo Samuel last year, and Deebo received a lot of heat when he didn't sign up initially. He received a lot of heat. So find a way to pay Brandon Ayuk. That's my biggest gripe with the 49ers. And by the way, I love San Francisco. I love the city of San Francisco. Man, I've been there several times over the years in different conferences. Love walking the Bay, going to over to the different Bay. Of course, they are not in the Bay Area anymore. They're in Santa Clara, California. But when you go to San Francisco, I just love the Bay Area and the chocolate. They have the big, rich chocolate factory there. You have the Golden Gate Bridge. You get to see that, and then you walk up and down, and you get on the cable cars, and it's so ethnically diverse there. It's just so pleasant. Just love San Francisco. So keep that winning tradition there in San. The fans are loyal, but again, you gotta bring the heat, because you've been to the promised land again and again. And let's not forget about the tradition of the San Francisco 49ers with Joe Montana and my boy Jerry Rice. So bring back another NFC championship, and hopefully they'll make it to the Super Bowl. So again, like I said, the schedule. Oh my schedule. The schedule. They start off with, like I said, they got to get ready for the Jets. Jets are number one. Monday night game at home. Then they play Minnesota. Then they go to Minnesota. Then they go to LA. Then they play New England at home. Then they have host Arizona. Then they go on the road to Seattle. Then they host Kansas City. Jeez, oh my gosh, again. Whoa, is this a revenge game or what? Then they go host the Cowboys. Excuse me. Then they have a bye. Then they go on the road to Tampa Bay. Ooh. Then they host Seattle. Then they go on the road to Green Bay. Excuse me. Then they go on the road to Buffalo. Then they host Chicago. Then they host the Rams on a Thursday night. Then they go to Miami. Dolphins. Then they host Dolphins. And then they host Detroit Lions. And then they finish with the Cardinals. And I have the 49ers with 14 wins and 3 losses. That's right, 14-3. 14-3. Very impressive. And let me just say, it truly depends. And I made this prediction thinking that Brandon Ayuk would be on the team. If he's not there, that's not going to be their record. It's that important. If Brandon Ayuk does not resign, and they don't sign Brandon Ayuk, their record will not be 14-3. So my prediction is based upon Brandon Ayuk being there. So if he's not there, less games won. and less chance for the Super Bowl. But if he is there, 14-3. Bank it! This is from the Beetle. This is from Football 101. You know how I do things. I just tell it like it is. And as I always say, let's do this.